important issues to address. Honorable Speaker, let me deal with this security issue. Honorable Speaker, I want to submit my profound disappointment to the Inspector General of Police through the Interior Minister who is here present. Honorable Minister, sometime in 2024, a citizen of my constituency who is in fact a brother, Ibrahim Sise, was missing, and this matter was reported to the police to find out where Ibrahim was. Honorable Speaker, the matter was brought to my attention. I tried to talk to the Minister of the Inspector General of Police. During the course of the search for the boy, Inspector General of Police told me, we've been doing our best to find where the boy was. But let us expect the worst. Just what that worst could be. That is, he is not living. Honorable Speaker, the last person who communicated to Ibrahim was one man called Ebou Secka. Was the last person who communicated to Ibrahim and called him for a ride as a taxi driver. Ibrahim went to meet him and he never came back. And sometime last year, I was going to my constituents. I met the health officers and police officers somewhere in Fonyi. I stopped and alighted my vehicle. When I came down, and the chief told the police officers to allow me to see what was happening at the scene, I went and saw a dead person, a dead body, thrown in a ditch. The water. Honorable Speaker, this body was rescued and buried in Foni and later removed again to be taken to Arbitrage. Honorable Speaker, all this time Ebou Secka was nowhere to be found as the alleged killer. Honorable Speaker, what happens is, when this body was taken back to Banjul, it was found to be our brother Ibrahim Sise. This boy was killed mysteriously and thrown in the forest, which I saw myself. The wife was conceived with 9-month pregnancy. The mother is there, the father is there. Honorable Speaker, sometime later, this alleged killer, Ebou Secka, was arrested and detained. And all of a sudden, police announced the escape of this person. I have never been disappointed and lose confidence and trust in our security than this moment. Not only as a representative, but as a brother. And I think the police under whose custody the boy was must face justice for that. What leads to his abscond? Why did he escape? Nobody knows about. Honorable Speaker, this is painful and it can be anybody's family. I urge Honorable Minister for Interior to immediately order investigation as to what led to the absconding or the escape of this boy.
Yeah, you can use my, go ahead.
You cannot be searching for somebody who is accused of killing, having arrested him, he escaped from police custody. How did that happen? Honorable Speaker, on the same security matters. Let me once again submit this greatest dismay about an outrageous statement and utterance that was made by another individual called Abubakar Bahum against the people of a whole region, against the people of Kiang. Some time back, if you could remember, members of the parliament and citizens of this country, when the National People's Party, NPP, conceded defeat to the United Democratic Party in the by-election in Masembe Ward, night after that election, that boy wrote an outrageous remark on social media, calling the people of Kiang as ungrateful people. This is uncalled for, and this is so violent, and it's insulting to the people of our region. And I think we should discourage that as citizens of this country. Franchise is the right of citizens to have the right to vote and be voted for. This is the right that people of Kiang has exercised. And in fact, not even a constituent, but a ward have exercised that franchise. This boy went on social media and made this remark. Honorable Minister of Interior, I must express this dismay of the people of my constituents and the people of my region through you and to the government of the Gambia. People raise concerns to me from my constituents for me to speak out to the social media. I refuse to, even though I try to write on the social media, on my platform about some happenings. But I refuse to address this matter until I come here. As a representative, here is the best platform to express this to you, and this is the dismay and the disappointment of the entire Kiang, and we expect you to take a step towards that.
Honorable member for Kiang West, is this matter before court, especially the one you talked about your brother? Is that before the court?
No, they are all other investigations. Right. Honorable Speaker, I want to talk about public-private partnership. Honorable members, if you could remember, the government has a vision to work towards in the attainment of their development goals. And among them is to encourage private sector, is to have private sector join them in their development agendas. And one of them is to have public-private partnerships. The public-private partnership, where we can have the private sector interest and the public interest through the government to ensure that we have vibrant and efficient public serving institutions. But we don't have the legislation, separate framework that governs public-private partnership. You could remember the recycling of Senegambia Bridge with Africa 50. You could remember the consensus of Gambia Port Authority. You could remember the proposal for the public-private partnership on Gamcel. And of course, the minister do talk about the interest to have public and private sector partnership in even GIA. Of course, you have seen the private intervention in the ferry services as well. So I think it is important that our country has a framework that guides public-private partnerships to ensure transparency and accountability. And of course, other countries, public-private partnerships are working for them and they are attaining high development goals with it. But they have legislations, they have frameworks that guides it. And in fact, let me try to reference Botswana. They have a whole institution that is public-private partnership institution that is responsible for public-private partners, that monitors is, that has a commission that look at all the frameworks and perform oversight to ensure that we have transparent and accountable adventure by the government. And this framework is not there. Government is going into all of these adventures. So I would suggest that I was informed reliably that some time ago in 5th legislature, a bill was brought to the parliament to address public-private partnership but has been withdrawn. So it's important that government bring back public-private partnership bill so that we have a legislation that guides this endeavor, because it's not a simple thing to have the public interest and the private interest in the development goal of a country. Other countries who succeeded in the triple Ps have the frameworks, and this is why it is working for them very well. Honorable Minister of Energy, some time ago I had a discussion with you with respect to the communities which are not electrified in my community, which is Joli, Julakunda, Burong, Misra, Taborang. I hope that your mind is still on this and try to put it on the extension that you are working on so that these communities can be electrified. Under the Minister of Fisheries and Water Resources, of course, and Tangulari and Kemoto are very good sites for fish landing, and they are all fish landing sites days ago, and there has been a very active fishing activities in those areas, but now those institutions are no more working. We appeal that you try to put an attention to those communities so that we can engage our youths to also minimize illegal migration and rural-urban migration. It will be very important, and they can also, try to help the economic status of the local people who stayed in those areas, and also to supply fresh fish to the neighboring communities instead of transporting fish from Tanje and Gunjur to those areas. They have the resources within them. So why not we try to empower them, to give them boats and the fishing nets and have their landing sites prepared for them so that our communities can survive. These are the few among the lot I wanted to talk about, but because there is no time, Honorable Speaker, thank you very much, and honorable colleagues, honorable ministers, and the rest here present, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I now invite the member for Sanimentry.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. First, I'll have to thank the Cabinet Ministers and the Vice President, Your Excellency. Thank you very much for being here with us today, and of course the technical staff. Honorable members, we thank Allah that today is the final day of this particular session, and I will say Ramadan Kareem and a happy Eid coming. Honorable Speaker, I will go straight to my deliberations, and first I will begin the Operation Clear the Road. Operation Clear the Road has been a burning issue for the citizens of this country, more especially women of this country. And I felt this is not fair to the women who goes out daily to find out how to support their husbands and children at home. I've been talking about this Operation Clear the Road, burning issues with regards to women. This is not the first time, and I'll continue talking about this until this burden is taken out of women or from women. Honorable Speaker, Operation Clear the Road. Yes, we can clear our roads. It is very, very important to have access. It is very, very important to have motorable. But then, it is not important for our women to be suffering as how they are doing today. These are our mothers. These are our sisters. They are our aunts. They are going out daily to support their children and their family or their husbands in order to have a good living. I have been talking about this repeatedly, and I will continue talking about this until and unless this will be taken out of them. We can clear our roads without beating our women. We can clear our roads without threatening our people with guns. We can clear our roads without threatening our people on certain things. We can clear our roads without taking the products of those women who are trying to support the citizens of this country, because the children that they are supporting, their husbands, are equally the citizens of this country. But women of this nation are tired of this Operation Clear the Road. And I expect the government to do something to find a better way or a better solution to do those Operation Clear the Road in order than making these women to cry. They don't deserve that. Honorable Speaker, the second point that I will talk about is the Drug Rehabilitation Center. The ongoing construction, Drug Rehabilitation Center ongoing in my constituency, which is Tranquil. The people of my constituency, especially Tranquil, are concerned of the security, because we all know the Drug Rehabilitation Center. This has something to do with the people who use this drug, and the people of my constituency, more especially Tranquil, feel threatened whether our children will not be involved in drug issues. So I would like the minister responsible to address this issue whether our children are as expected by the people of my constituency, whether they will not be threatened, how they are threatened, whether their children will not be involved in these drug issues. So the security system, I would like the minister responsible to make clarity on that. Honorable Speaker, women land inheritance. Women land inheritance is another burning issue in the Gambia, more especially in my constituency. It's across the country, I know. But then I think women deserve better things than crying daily. Women of the Gambia are not happy. I know the youths are not happy, but the women of the Gambia are not equally happy. We are not happy, and we can never be happy unless and until this land inheritance is being resolved. We use our family gardens or our family inheritance, land inheritance, to do gardening. But ask law, what is the ministry doing to come up with a policy to make sure that women inherit lands? We cannot just be doing gardening on lands, and at the end of the day, it will be seized by the government, or it will be seized by the family, that women will not have any power to inherit that particular land. So I am urging the ministry responsible to come up with a policy that will resolve that matter. Honorable Speaker, I have talked about fencing the women garden in Keseri. As I said earlier, women are so generous. We are so generous. Women of the Gambia are so generous that we do gardening, we do sell fish, we do everything to support our husbands. Thank you very much for the women of this country. Thank you so much for supporting your family. Thank you so much for being generous. And thank you so much for entertaining everything to make sure that you do good living for your family. Honorable Speaker, as I said, Kersering is a huge community. It's a very large community. And women do gardening to support their family as well. You cannot be, doing gardening for a month, and at a particular time where you want to harvest your product, a cow or a sheep or a goat will get into that garden and destroy the whole thing. It is unacceptable. It is difficult. It is so disheartening. I think the land ministry need to think about this and then support the women of Kersering by fencing their garden. Honorable Speaker, this one is a follow-up question. A follow-up question with regards to Demman Clinic. I've mentioned it here, I've said it here, and I've asked the minister, why is it that patients are lying on the floor of the emergency ward at Demman Clinic? And I had a response from the minister that this was capacity. So I still ask the minister, if the minister is not available, Honorable Vice President, Your Excellency, I want that response. Why is it still that patients are still lying on the floor of the emergency ward at the Man Clinic? If it is still capacity, can we find solution to this? Honorable Speaker, diaspora voting. I am also disappointed. I am so disappointed. I am so disappointed that diaspora, the people, the citizens of our country are not given the right by this National Assembly in order not to vote. It is a complete disappointment from the citizens of our country. It is a complete disappointment. These diasporan people contribute to our politics. They contribute to the democracy of this country. So why should they be completely rejected to vote? It's a complete disappointment from us in this parliament. So I expect the members of this parliament, I expect the government of this day to look into this matter properly to find solutions. Yes, it is clearly stated in our constitution, section 39 of our constitution, the right, our constitution had given the power to the citizens of this country to vote. It has already given the right for our citizens of this country to vote. Yes, but why this disappointment that the parliament is not allowing, based on a particular constitution? Yes, there is an entrenched clause. But despite the entering clause, we can always find solution for the people of our country, citizens in the diaspora to vote. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I beg to move. Thank you.
Thank you, member for Sanementring. I now invite the member for Lower Fuladu West.
Thank you very much, Speaker, for giving me the floor. But before I go into my deliberations, I wanted to make it clear that the government of today is concerned for the safety of women of this country. For that being the fact, they try to make sure that the road is safe. It is the responsibility of councils to have sympathy for the women of this country, to give them a safer place for them to be able to serve, not on the hard road. Speaker, I thank the people of Lower Fuladu for the trust and the women of this country. I was among the nominated people that went to attend the CSW. This is a platform advancing the conversation of women on gender equality. In that venue, Gambia was champion for adhering to the global standard of the safety of women and girls. And in that venue, they were very much disappointed and sad. Women that stood against the well-being of women, it was very sympathetic, and they show out their frustration. And they thank the National Assembly for being very brave enough, ensuring that they were able to withstand all the pressure to make sure that no single clause of the proposed amendment bill was passed. And I want to use this opportunity as the member for Lower Fuladu to appeal from Donald Trump. For the USI court, this country is not ready. We were not prepared. It came as a surprise. And I'm using parliamentary diplomacy to ask Donald Trump and the US government to kindly lift the ban on cutting the USID, because we need it as a developing country. I said it. If America sneezes, the developing world catch cold. The underdeveloping catch COVID-25, and now we have catch COVID-25. Mr. Speaker, I go back to the concern of people of Lower Fuladu. And in fact, before I go, I have a letter for Donald Trump, which I'm going to hand over to the US Embassy. I started this diplomacy whilst I was in New York, and I'm going to seek an audience to meet Donald Trump on behalf of Africa. And this is what the people of Lower Fuladu assigned me to do. Mr. Speaker, the people of Lower Fuladu, this holds the food basket of this country under the Ministry of Agriculture. We are very grateful to the projects. They supply the people of Lower Fuladu with quality seeds, fertilizer. They also give them matching grants and also supported communities with tractors. We are really grateful to this government. But notwithstanding, we want to tell the Ministry of Agriculture, the rice field in Sankulekunda was, for 3 years now, it is not working. And Sankulekunda, if you know that area, is surrounded by hills. The only thing the people of Sankulekunda can do is rice cultivation. And because of the contract deficits that was there, we are asking the Minister of Agriculture to go and fix that problem, because people have been so patient enough that at this point in time, they are frustrated. And I'm asking the Minister of Agriculture to go and fix that problem there. Under the same Minister of Agriculture, the people of Lower Fuladu have received tractors, agrochemicals, and also the water gates that in the Jakali Pachar, in the Jahali area, have been fixed. We thank the Ministry of Agriculture, and we thank His Excellency President Adamo Barrow for understanding that that area is predominantly a farming community and we need to be empowered. And my baby, one of the projects, P2RS, we are expecting a lot from the project and they are delivering. So on behalf of the people of Lower Fuladu, we thank this project, but we ask them to add up. Land development is a challenge, and we want them to develop our land. If you can look at the climate change impact, the parameter dying of the Jakali Pachar was intruded by erosion. And most of the farmers, we are not able to do any harvest at the time that these farmers have all loan to the projects. At the time that these farmers have all loan to the Ministry of Agriculture, we are asking His Excellency to waive those kind of loans, that the seeds, or fertilizer that was given to the farmers, because everything gets spoiled. And not only that, we are asking the government of the day to reimburse the farmers with food, because the whole of the rainy season plantations was submerged in water, and we asked them to help us. People are hungry because the amount that they were expecting to get the rainy season, everything was spoiled. So we want the Ministry of Agriculture to go back and try to see how can they work waiving the farmers in terms of some of the loans. And on the same Ministry of Agriculture, they have supported individual farmers, private farmers,